Aloha Commanders, and welcome to Later Tonight with Dr. Iron Chef, hosted on the Aloha Dis YouTube channel.
Please be sure to follow on Twitch and subscribe on YouTube for all the latest content.
Today we discuss the new blog post from Star Trek Fleet Command, Solo Wave Defense. You're a sneak preview into the next frontier.
This is a big one
Yeah.
for solo players looking for a real challenge.
It sounds like
Yeah,
Scopely has completely reimagined the old wave defense mode.
exactly. And get this, you'll be commanding 3 ships simultaneously.
Well,
That means triple the firepower,
oh yeah.
and that also triple the strategic thinking required.
Wow, 3 ships at once. That's a game changer. What kind of enemies are we going up against in this solo gauntlet?
Get ready to face waves of Apex Raiders,
Okay.
including the notorious Ferengi Plunderers and the elusive Orion Prowlers.
Oh boy.
And they're not messing around.
No.
They start at level 45 and just keep getting tougher from there.
Oh.
You'll need to bring your A game if you want to survive.
Level 45 right off the bat. That's intense. I'm already feeling the pressure.
I know, right?
What makes these Apex Raiders so tough? Aside from, being level 45.
Well, for starters, they're coming at you with some serious buffs.
Okay.
There's not playing nice,
Mm.
which boosts their offensive capabilities, making them hit harder and pierce through defenses more easily.
Actually, so we're talking about increased damage output, A&D,
Yeah,
the ability to bypass some of our defenses. That's a nasty combination.
that's right.
What's the other buff they mentioned?
The other one is called Black Market Armaments,
Mm-hmm.
and it essentially makes them super resistant to your attacks.
So they hit harder, they pierce through defenses, and they're tougher than a Klingon's forehead. This is starting to sound a bit daunting,
Yeah,
even for a seasoned commander like myself.
you, me both.
Anything else we should be worried about?
Remember those Orion Prowlers I mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
They're especially adept at using these buffs to their full advantage. You'll want to prioritize taking them out quickly, or they'll become a real thorn in your side.
Okay, so we need to be ready for some serious punishment from these Apex Raiders. But what about our side of things? What can WE do to counter these buffed-up baddies? I mean, surely Scopely wouldn't throw us into the fire without giving us some way to fight back, right?
You're absolutely right, they wouldn't. And that's where the new Apex Shred mechanic comes in.
Apex Shred. Okay, you've definitely piqued my interest.
Oh, yeah.
What exactly is Apex Shred, and how does it work? Give us the lowdown.
Right.
I love the nitty-gritty details.
Well, you're probably familiar with the Apex barrier mechanic, right?
Yeah.
It's where the enemy converts their barrier points into health multipliers, making them incredibly tanky.
Yeah.
Apex Shred is a tactical modifier that directly counters that
Interesting.
by reducing the damage mitigation provided by the Apex barrier.
So instead of chipping away at a massive barrier, we can use Apex Shred to make our attacks much more effective. That sounds like a game changer,
That's the idea.
especially against those late-game enemies who are practically walking fortresses.
Exactly. Imagine you're facing an enemy with a 50,000 barrier.
Wow.
Normally, you'd be planking away at it for ages,
Right.
but with Apex Shred,
Yeah.
you can significantly reduce that barrier's effectiveness,
Right.
allowing your weapons to do real damage.
That's a fantastic addition. I can already see the strategic possibilities. It's not just about raw firepower anymore.
Yep.
It's about knowing when and how to deploy Apex Shred to maximize your damage output.
You got it.
This is going to add a whole new layer of depth to combat, don't you think?
Absolutely. Mastering Apex Shred will be essential to victory in solo wave defense.
Yeah.
You'll need to think carefully about when to use it and against which enemies to get the most bang for your buck, so to speak.
I'm already starting to strategize. But enough about the battles themselves. What about the rewards? We know that Scopely loves to give us goodies for overcoming challenges, and I have a feeling they've got something special lined up for solo wave defense.
You're not wrong.
Okay.
Successfully completing these solo wave defense encounters will earn you something called a Section 31 access key.
Section 31 access key. Sounds intriguing. What exactly does it unlock?
This key unlocks access to a whole suite of upgrades,
Nice.
including things like favors, chaos tech, artifacts, officers,
Okay.
and even refits. Basically, everything you need to power up your fleet.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
For those of us who might not be familiar with all the ins and outs of Star Trek Fleet Command,
Right.
can you break down what some of those rewards actually mean? Like, what exactly is Chaos Tech,
Okay.
and why should we be excited about getting our hands on it?
Well, chaos tech is a special type of technology that you can use to enhance your ships.
Right.
It gives you a significant edge in battles.
So it's not just about cosmetic upgrades.
No.
It's about tangible improvements to our ship's performance. That's definitely something worth fighting for. And what about those favors you mentioned? What are those all about?
Favors are basically like currency that you can use to acquire special items and upgrades within the game. They're incredibly valuable and can really accelerate your progress.
Okay, so we've got chaos tech to boost our ships.
Yes.
Favors to buy cool stuff. And even refits to change up our ship's capabilities.
That's right.
It sounds like every battle in Solo Wave Defense is an opportunity to significantly enhance our fleet's power.
Exactly. And that's what makes Solo Wave Defense more than just a fun challenge.
Right.
It's a direct path to strengthening your fleet and preparing for even tougher encounters down the road. It's like a training ground with incredible rewards for those who can conquer it.
I love how they're integrating this new mode into the overall progression system.
Yeah.
It's not just a side activity.
Right.
It's a vital part of becoming a truly formidable commander.
And let's not forget about the bragging rights that come with conquering Solo Wave Defense.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, yeah.
Being able to say you took on those level 45 Apex Raiders with 3 ships and came out on top. That's the kind of story you tell in the shipyards to impress other commanders.
Imagine the looks on their faces when you casually mention you've mastered the art of Apex Shred.
I can practically see the envy in their eyes. But speaking of strategy, I'm curious to hear your initial thoughts on the best ways to approach Solo Wave Defense.
Sure.
What kind of ship combinations are you thinking about using?
Yeah.
What advice would you give to players who are just starting to wrap their heads around this new mode?
Well, first and foremost, I think it's crucial to choose ships that complement each other's strengths and weaknesses.
Okay.
You'll want a good balance of firepower,
Yeah.
tankiness, and support capabilities.
Makes sense.
Remember, you're going up against enemies with specific buffs, so you'll need to tailor your fleet accordingly.
Okay.
Don't just bring your 3 favorite ships.
Yeah.
Think strategically about which ones will work best together against the challenges you'll face.
That's sound advice. I'm already picturing myself running simulations in the simulator room.
Oh, yeah.
Testing out different ship combinations and seeing what works best.
Right.
I can't wait to experiment with Apex Shred and see how it changes the flow of battle. But more importantly, I can't wait to share those experiences with all of you, our amazing community. What do you think, Commanders? Are you as excited about Solo Wave Defense as we are? Hit us up in the comments and let us know.
We want to hear your thoughts, your strategies, your predictions.
Yeah.
This is more than just a game. It's a community.
Absolutely.
And together, we'll conquer this next frontier.
All right, Commander, stay tuned for part 2.
We'll be right back. Welcome back, Commanders, to Later Tonight with Dr. Iron Chef.
Glad to have you back as we continue our deep dive into Solo Wave Defense.
Yeah.
Now, before the break, we were talking about ship combinations and strategizing for those tough Apex Raider encounters.
Right.
You mentioned the importance of balancing firepower, tankiness, and support.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate on that a bit?
Sure.
What kind of ships would you consider essential for a well-rounded Solo Wave Defense fleet?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And honestly, it depends on your playstyle and the specific wave you're facing.
Okay.
But as a general rule of thumb,
Yeah.
I think having a solid tank at the front is crucial.
Right.
Something that can soak up damage and keep the enemy focused while your other ships deal the hurt.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
A good frontline tank is like the foundation of any strong fleet.
Absolutely.
What kind of ships come to mind when you think of tanks in Star Trek Fleet Command?
Well, the Enterprise is always a solid choice.
Oh, yeah.
Its high health pool and defensive capabilities make it ideal for drawing enemy fire. The Augur is another excellent option,
Okay.
especially since it can cloak and avoid taking damage altogether for a short period.
So we're talking about ships that can not only withstand punishment, but also potentially avoid it altogether.
Right.
Clever thinking.
Yeah.
But a good defense is only half the battle, right?
Exactly.
How about firepower?
Yeah.
Which ships pack the biggest punch, in your opinion?
When it comes to dishing out damage,
Yeah.
you can't go wrong with the D4.
Okay.
Its high critical hit chance and powerful attacks make it a formidable opponent.
Right.
And of course, the Botany Bay is always a good choice for its devastating disruptor beams.
Those are some classic heavy hitters.
Yeah.
I could already imagine the Botany Bay melting through enemy shields with its disruptor beams.
Oh, yeah.
But what about that third ship slot?
Right.
You mentioned support capabilities.
Yeah.
What kind of ships fall into that category?
Support ships are all about enhancing your other ship's abilities and hindering your enemies.
Okay.
Ships like the USS Franklin with its repair capabilities,
Right.
or the USS Saladin, which can disable enemy systems, can be invaluable in a tough fight.
So it's not just about brute force.
Nope.
It's about having a well-rounded team that can cover all the bases.
Exactly.
Tanking damage, dealing damage, and providing support.
That's right.
It sounds like there's going to be a lot of room for experimentation and finding the perfect ship synergy for your playstyle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about Solo Wave Defense.
Mm.
It's going to challenge players to think strategically and try out different combinations they might not have considered before.
Right.
It's not just about bringing your 3 most powerful ships. It's about finding the right team for the job.
Speaking of the right team for the job,
Yeah.
let's talk a bit more about that Apex Shred mechanic.
Okay.
We know it's a tactical modifier that counters the enemy's Apex barrier.
Right.
But what are some practical tips for using it effectively?
Sure.
When is the best time to deploy Apex Shred? What kind of situations call for it?
That's where the real strategy comes in.
Okay.
You don't want to waste Apex Shred on an enemy with a small barrier.
Right.
Save it for those big tanky targets with massive barriers that would take forever to whittle down normally.
So it's not just about using it whenever it's available.
Right.
It's about timing it for maximal impact.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
Mm.
What about targeting?
Okay.
Should we focus Apex Shred on specific enemy ships? Or just blast away at whoever has the biggest barrier?
That depends on the situation.
Got it.
If you're facing a group of enemies with varying barrier strengths, it might be wise to prioritize the one with the biggest barrier to reduce their overall tankiness quickly.
Right.
But if there's a particularly dangerous enemy that relies heavily on their barrier for survival,
Okay.
like an Orion Prowler with those pesky buffs we talked about earlier,
Yeah.
then focusing Apex Shred on them might be the best strategy.
So there's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Nope.
It's about assessing the situation
It's who?
and making a judgment call based on the enemy composition and your own strategic goals.
You got it.
That's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to get a sense of the strategic depth that Solo Wave Defense is going to offer.
It's going to be great.
It's not just about brute force.
Right.
It's about using your head and outsmarting your opponents.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And remember, practice makes perfect. Once Solo Wave Defense drops, don't be afraid to experiment. Try out different ship combinations and test out various Apex Shred strategies.
Okay.
The more you play, the better you'll understand the nuances of this new mode and the more successful you'll be.
Great advice. It's all about learning and adapting, just like a true Starfleet captain.
That's right.
But beyond the strategic elements and the thrill of battle,
Yeah.
there's another aspect of Solo Wave Defense that I'm particularly interested in.
Okay.
The rewards.
Right.
We talked about the Section 31 access key and the goodies it unlocks.
Yeah.
But I want to delve a bit deeper into why these rewards are so significant.
Sure.
What makes them so special?
Okay.
And how will they impact our overall progression in the game?
That's a crucial point.
Yeah.
The rewards in Solo Wave Defense aren't just there to make you feel good about winning a battle.
Right.
They're designed to directly enhance your ability to tackle even tougher content in the game. Think of it as a positive feedback loop.
Okay.
You conquer challenges, you earn rewards,
Yeah.
and you use those rewards to conquer even greater challenges.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
It's like climbing a ladder, with each rung representing a new level of power and achievement.
Exactly.
But can you give us some specific examples of how these rewards will translate into tangible improvements for our fleets?
Sure. Take Chaos Tech, for example.
Okay.
Upgrading your ships with Chaos Tech can significantly boost their damage output, defense, and overall effectiveness in battle.
Right.
This means you'll be able to take on stronger enemies and complete missions that were previously out of reach.
So it's not just about vanity.
No.
It's about making our ships genuinely more powerful and capable.
That's right.
What about those favors you mentioned earlier?
Okay.
How can we utilize those to our advantage?
Favors are a valuable currency that can be used to acquire a wide range of items and upgrades, including things like officer badges, ship blueprints, and even special event currency. They give you flexibility and allow you to customize your fleet progression based on your specific needs and goals.
So it's not just about following a linear progression path.
Right.
It's about having the freedom to choose how you want to develop your fleet.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. And what about those refits
Oh,
How do
yes.
those factor into the equation?
Refits allow you to modify your ship's capabilities and tailor them to specific roles.
Huh.
You can enhance their offensive power, boost their defensive capabilities, or even change their primary and weapon systems.
Right.
This adds another layer of strategic depth to fleet building and allows you to create truly specialized ships for different combat scenarios.
So it's about taking those ships we know and love
Yeah,
and fine-tuning them to fit our personal playstyles and strategic needs.
exactly.
It's like taking them back to the shipyards for a custom upgrade.
Right.
I love that level of customization.
Yeah.
And the best part is, all these rewards are directly tied to our success in solo wave defense. The more we conquer, the more we're rewarded.
That's right.
And the stronger our fleets become.
Exactly.
It's a win-win situation.
Absolutely.
And that's why I think solo wave defense has the potential to be a game changer for Star Trek Fleet Command.
It really does.
It's not just about mindless grinding or repetitive battles.
No.
It's about strategic thinking, skillful execution,
Yeah.
and reaping the rewards to further enhance your fleet's capabilities.
You got it.
It's a mode that will appeal to both hardcore strategists and casual players alike.
That's right.
And I can't wait to see how the community embraces this new challenge.
Me too.
I'm right there with you. I can already picture myself spending hours in the simulator room
Oh, yeah.
testing out different ship combinations,
Right.
experimenting with Apex shred tactics,
Yeah.
and watching my fleet grow stronger with each victory.
Absolutely.
But before we get too carried away with our excitement, I think it's time to take another quick break and come back in part 3 to discuss the narrative implications of solo wave defense and explore those intriguing hints about Section 31's involvement.
Okay.
What do you think, Commanders? Are you ready to unravel this mystery with us? We'll be right back. Welcome back, Commanders. You are locked on to Later Tonight with Dr. Iron Chef on the Aloha Dis YouTube channel.
And we're wrapping up our deep dive into Solo Wave Defense.
Yeah.
The exciting new mode coming to Star Trek Fleet Command.
We've covered a lot of ground, from the strategic challenges and the satisfying rewards to the potential ship combinations and mastering that game-changing Apex shred mechanic.
Right.
But there's one more piece of the puzzle we need to examine: the narrative element.
Right. The blog post mentioned a new Section 31 themed entity called the Baram.
Yeah.
And I think this is where things get really interesting.
Section 31 always adds a layer of mystery and intrigue, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure.
What do we know about this Baram so far?
Details are scarce at the moment. But the fact that they're mentioned in connection with Solo Wave Defense suggests they play a significant role. Could they be the masterminds behind those souped-up Apex raiders?
Oh.
Are they using those buffs to test us, or is there something more sinister at play?
Ooh, I love a good conspiracy theory.
Oh.
It wouldn't be Section 31 without some shadowy motives lurking in the background.
Right.
I wonder if we'll get to uncover those motives as we progress through Solo Wave Defense.
Yeah.
Maybe through intel reports or intercepted transmissions, like a mini investigation alongside the battles.
That's a great point. Imagine discovering logs or data fragments that hint at the Baram's true objectives.
Yeah.
It would add a whole new layer of depth to the mode, intertwining narrative with gameplay in a really engaging way.
It would make those victories feel even more meaningful, knowing that we're not just defeating waves of enemies,
Right.
but also peeling back layers of a conspiracy.
That's exactly.
What kind of story do you think Scopely might be weaving here? Any early theories based on what we know about Section 31?
Well, Section 31 is notorious for operating in the shadows.
Yeah.
Often taking extreme measures to protect the Federation, even if it means bending the rules. Perhaps they're using these enhanced Apex raiders as a way to prepare us for a larger threat.
Right.
A trial by fire, so to speak. Or maybe they're experimenting with new technologies and tactics, and we're caught in the crossfire.
Those are some compelling possibilities. I'm already picturing myself battling through those waves, eager to discover the next clue, the next piece of the puzzle that reveals what the Baram is truly up to.
Yeah.
It's like we're not just playing a game, but starring in our own Star Trek episode.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of a well-crafted narrative in a game like this.
Right.
It gives context and purpose to our actions,
Yeah.
drawing us deeper into the world and making us feel like active participants in the story.
It's the difference between simply completing a mission and feeling like you're truly shaping the course of events.
Right.
I have to say, Scopely has really piqued my curiosity with this one.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see how the story unfolds and what role the Barum ultimately plays in the grand scheme of things.
It's definitely something to look forward to. And it just goes to show that solo wave defense is more than just a new mode.
Yeah,
It's a complete experience.
right.
It's got strategic depth, satisfying rewards, and a compelling narrative that will keep us engaged long after the initial excitement wears off.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So, Commanders, are you ready to face the challenge, unravel the mystery, and reap the rewards of solo wave defense? Be sure to follow Dr. Iron Chef on Twitch and subscribe to Aloha Dis on YouTube for all the latest updates, tips, and breakdowns as we approach launch.
Mahalo for joining us.